I remember when I left my 8 year relationship, and one of the things that I struggled with was feeling like, damn, that's like 8 years, that's almost a decade of my life that, has been in my mind wasted. Like, my kids were not a waste. Of course, I'm grateful for my babies, but 10 years is a lot of time to give to somebody that doesn't appreciate it or you, right? But then I saw a video of this lady, and I don't know if she was a medical doctor or a PhD, but they called her doctor or something. I forgot her name. And she said that she had been married to this man for decades, and that at 70 years old, the man had asked for a divorce. And she was like, obviously she was heartbroken, and she just felt like, oh my God, this has been so much time. Like, what do I do? And she said, but she used the rest of those terms because I guess the man died. She used the years that she has left to get to know herself and become who she was meant to be all along. And it made me think, right? Like, anytime I tell my story, or anytime, so anytime I tell my story and somebody comments and they go, oh girl, it was this many years for me, and it might have been a longer term, right? It might have been 20 years, it might have been 30 years. They always go, I'm so proud of you that you figured it out sooner. Or, I have young ladies, or I have women, period, that get in my comments and they'll tell me, like, yeah, girl, that was me. I went through the same thing. For me, it was 5 years, or it was 3 years, or it was 1 year, or whatever, right? And time is something that we cannot get back, but we have to be grateful that we didn't spend our entire lifetime in that. There are people that I know that literally were in trash ass relationships. They were not being loved correctly, and they died in that relationship. So they never got to experience the better. They never got to experience the peace and the free. Well, I guess it's subjective, but they never really got to experience the peace and the freedom that they so wanted and deserved. And for me, it was hard because I went into this relationship in my 20s and I left out of the relationship in my 30s. And shit was different. My mind was different. Times were different. Dating is different. Things are different. And it was like a damn. There's times sometimes where when one of my babies is sad about me and their father not being together anymore, there are times where I still get angry and I be like, damn, nigga, like, you ruined every fucking thing. Like, it didn't have to be like this. You ruined every fucking thing. But I have to forgive myself, and I have to give myself grace for, like, now I know what I didn't know. And our stories are written, and we experience things for a reason. And I always say that God didn't put me through anything that I went through or am going through for me to keep these things to myself. And this is why I tell my story. Because there's somebody right now in the thick of what you just left. There's somebody right now that is feeling stuck. I remember feeling like I was a tree. Like, I really felt like I couldn't move. I was frustrated. I was like, I can't do this and I can't do that, and I want to do this and I have this goal and this ambition and blah blah blah, and I can't do all of these things because I'm dragging this person, or I'm carrying this person along with me. And because of all of my trauma and all of the things that I went through, yes, there are times where I look and I be like, damn, I'm already 35. Like, I don't know how much longer I have, and I'm figuring out all these things right now. But then I have to tell myself, like, girl, what if you make it to, I always say, what if I make it to 100? That's 65 more years I have to enjoy. Like, this is not, grandma and aunties and them, they went through all the bullshit, so we didn't have to. They self-sacrificed and they struggled and they raised their family, you know, with no thanks. And Papa was doing the fucking most. And they're trying to bring us back to that. They're trying to put women back into, goddamn it, a perpetual, like, slavery situation. And we don't got to do and be that. And this is why it's a lot of people on the internet, they be crashing the fuck out, because that's where they want us to be, because it makes them feel better about themselves, because they realize, like, oh shit, like, a lot of these women wouldn't they don't want me because I don't have, you know, the things. Like back in the day, it didn't take much. You know, you don't need that for survival anymore. But never feel like your time is wasted. I had to learn that. If I had one lesson that I would take with me, if I had one thing to give somebody before I left this earth, I would literally say, do not feel like your time is wasted. It's not. You have so much more life to live. You don't know how long God is going to allow you to be here. And I've already lost 3 cousins, and they're all a year younger than me. I have my best friend, my childhood best friend died before our 21st birthdays. So I always say, like, I owe it to them to live. So regardless of your circumstances, regardless of you feeling like, you know, hey, I feel like I wasted this much time, none of that time was wasted. And truth be told, like, we are a walking testimony. Now you can go and tell somebody else, hey, I went through this, and I'm telling you so you don't have to. And that's literally like what my page is about. Like, yeah, I talk about other bullshit, but like that's the reason why I tell my story. Yes, people that are upset with me when I speak on my experiences, and the funny thing is, I don't even be dropping names. And I always say, if you didn't want me to speak on my experience with you, you should have given me a better experience. But had you given me a better experience, we wouldn't be where we are, right? But I speak on the things that I went through. I speak on my story, and I tell my story because that shit is gonna save a life. That's gonna save somebody else.